Well, many Disney Plus subscribers noticed over the last week that the Indiana Jones, the original movies, the best movies, the only movies I personally recognize, are no longer available on Disney Plus. And a lot of people were scratching their heads wondering what happened and why. And also there is the potential, I guess you could say, threat of other things being taken off of Disney Plus, as this is a practice Disney has done to take tax write-offs on certain shows that are costing them more money to keep them on the platform versus taking them off. So we have an article here from Screen Rant. We're going to go through and talk about the Indiana Jones thing. And then also there's some other shows that are leaving Disney Plus. And there's also the ones that a lot of people are worried about, or I shouldn't say a lot of people, some people are worried about. The Acolyte may have that same fate as well. So we're just going to go through this real quick and talk about it. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic. And basically what they talk about here is Indiana Jones is no longer on Disney Plus because they came to an agreement with Paramount, who had the original distribution rights, and that deal ran out. So there's no word if they're going to be able to, get this back or anything like that. But as of now, they say Disney acquired Lucasfilm in 2012, becoming the owner of Indiana Jones IP in the process. It's important to know, however, that Paramount Pictures retained the distribution rights for the first 4 films. A deal was then made in 2023, and the films made their way onto Disney Plus. So just in time for Mangold's Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny to bomb massively and lose tons of money. And the licensing agreement has now expired, and that's why the first 4 Indiana Jones movies have left the service. So, there's really no word on if that's going to be renewed or, anything of that nature. So I guess as right now, it's not on Disney Plus. And I think it's another lesson that I think a lot of people are coming to the realization that just relying on a streaming service for, if you enjoy watching a show or movies and you just think, well, it's on Disney Plus or it's on Netflix, I can just watch it at any time. There's always licensing deals going on where it goes off of one network, goes on to another one. And there's so many streamers now. You may be left being like, where do I watch this? Oh, I got to go get Paramount Plus now. Oh, I got to go do this. Whereas, just having physical copies of the shows and things that you enjoy, I think is the best way to go. Plus, at the same time, sometimes streamers will change it. They'll edit things out. They'll update things, and people don't want that. So I just think the safest bet is just to have physical media, which is becoming increasingly more rare in this world, but you still can get it, and I think it's a good thing to have. Plus, again, another example of another show leaving Disney Plus, Haley's on It, is being removed from Disney Plus worldwide due to unknown reasons, what they say here. But shout out to that Park Place. They're the ones that brought this to my attention, and they said a source told them that Bob Iger said to remove this show because it was actually costing them more money to keep it on Disney Plus versus taking it off and taking that tax write-off. So you got to think, too, with Disney Plus being ad-supported on most of its, at least what they're pushing is the ad-supported version. If they're not able to sell ads on certain shows or things like that, it's going to cost them more money. Plus, you have the reworked deal with the writer's strike. So I think it's not going to be uncommon, especially for some of the stuff that Disney put out that they're not really proud of. Willow comes to mind as another show that was created by Lucasfilm and Disney that was wiped off of Disney Plus, and unless you somehow acquired a copy of that, it is basically wiped from the face of the internet, not to be seen again. Iger's talked about they had that big push for Disney Plus, all this content, and a lot of it was not very well received. There was too much of it, and it wasn't really good stuff that they made. I'm not going to be surprised if we see more things being taken off of Disney Plus, which leads a lot of people to think perhaps the Acolyte being taken off, because that's been something that has been rumored could happen. Now, personally speaking, I would be surprised if Disney removed the Acolyte from Disney Plus, considering it's Star Wars, and I think even if it is costing them more money to keep the Acolyte on Disney Plus versus take off and take the tax write-off, I think from a brand standpoint, it would do so much damage, not only to the Star Wars brand in general, but potential future projects that they have, and just showing, this was so bad that it was actually taken off of Disney Plus. They took a tax write-off for it. I think it would really damage for, future things they would like to do. Not that I think they're going to be very good, given, Lucasfilm's recent track record, but I'm sure from just a marketing standpoint or just a brand standpoint, they wouldn't do it, because it's one thing to take off Willow or Haley's on It or something along those lines. Obviously, Indiana Jones is a different scenario there, but it's obviously another thing to completely take off a Star Wars show that is not successful. So I would be utterly shocked if you ever saw like Marvel or Star Wars properties be removed off Disney Plus just due to the fact that they weren't successful. I think that's a whole other bridge to cross there. But the other thing, too, about Disney Plus is they're, in the midst of wanting to be the next big streamer. If we look at what they recently have announced or have come out. If we look at this, and this is for October here, there's obviously Agatha All Along is the one that's outrunning right now. And then you've got Inside Out 2, which is a successful movie. That's probably a pretty decent draw for Disney Plus on there. But if we're looking through here, I mean, we're not seeing a whole lot of stuff on here since September. Really, I mean, there's just, I would say less than 20 things on there for sure. And then versus you look over at Netflix on things that have been recently released, and you have just all this content. And again, Netflix isn't necessarily making all of this. They have licensing deals. They bring in, they have stand-up comedians. They have specials. Now they're going to have like live things they've been doing. They had the roast. They've got, I know WWE Wrestling's coming to Netflix, if that's something that interests you. So they're really branching out and doing new things. And again, we can see how much more content in general is coming over to to Netflix versus Disney Plus. And it has to make you think, like, why would people, if Disney wants to be this major streamer that competes with Netflix, how are they going to do this? Because I think they're finding out making their own content is super expensive. Licensing deals can be risky. Look at Indiana Jones losing the rights to that. So these things can always happen. So I think Disney Plus, them getting Hulu, I think is a way for them to help bolster Disney Plus, because Hulu is a successful streamer. So they bought the remaining share of that from Comcast Universal for that. But I think that in terms of Disney Plus, it's as a lot of things go with Disney right now, I am curious in terms of, they have obviously Deadpool, Wolverine's going to be on there eventually. Then you got Inside Out 2. So these are successful movies, and this is what Disney sort of imagined it would be, is they have these successful movies that would end up on Disney Plus, and people would sign up for Disney Plus to see that. But I think what Disney's figuring out as well is having the original content they produce. Sometimes these things are very expensive. Look at the Acolyte, over costing $230 million. And really, there's only other way for it to make money unless it's leading people to sign up for Disney Plus, which has not been happening for a lot of these things. So I think Disney's figuring out, or has figured out, that the streaming game, or whatever you want to call it, the wars they're in, was not as profitable as they thought it was going to be, as they sunk a lot of money and manpower into creating Disney Plus. And at this point in time, they showed a profitable quarter last quarter with this, but overall, I believe there's still somewhere between 13 to 15 billion dollars in the hole when it comes to everything that's gone into Disney Plus. So if it ever becomes profitable, I don't really know. I definitely think that Iger has mentioned reworking it and having better quality, which is a good thing to do. But I think in terms of competing with Netflix, I don't know if they'll ever get there, because Netflix is just it became what it was because it was this hub of things where you could find that were shows that people watched. A lot of it was reruns. People just had it on to watch it on repeat, and it was just easy to consume. Disney at this point hasn't done that. I think Hulu maybe is something they can throw in there that definitely helps with that, but at least as of now, if you do enjoy a piece of content that is on Disney Plus or any streaming service, it can go away. And again, with Indiana Jones, there was no warning with this. It just all of a sudden came on there and did this. So I'm not making the case that this is going to make a major impact to Disney Plus, but I think it's more of a reminder that streaming is not the safest place sometimes for the things that you do enjoy. But as of now, Disney Plus is, I guess I'll have to wait and see how the fourth quarter looks for it in terms of how it performed, how it did. They did some pushes for some really cheap $1 subscriptions. I think really pushing those subscriber numbers up because they saw a dip in subscribers there for a little bit, and they're really trying to show the revenue and profitability of it. So if you're a fan of Indiana Jones, you want to watch that, you will have to go over to Paramount Plus for the time being to do that. But either way, that is going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of theme parks and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about this, and what do you think about streaming overall in terms of when these things happen? Does it make you want to keep streaming services, or does it make you want to get more physical media? And until next time, we will see you later.